The explanatory video for SyR Atenea can be found by searching for SyR Atenea or SyR Accounting. Select the first option that appears. You will introduce the username and password that has been given to you. On the left margin, you can choose the year you wish to operate in. Make sure you select the correct year, in this case 2020. Now we shall introduce an income invoice. To do so, we must first register our client. We click on the plus sign, type the name of the company, Restaurante La Luz. Remember that the invoice must have the company name and CIF, tax identification number, as well as ours. We introduce the CIF. And then choose client, and we proceed to register them. Then we click back. We are going to record an invoice, which is an income for us. We hit plus, invoice number 2, the date 5th of March 2020, and the concept cleaning services. We associate the client, Restaurante La Luz. The invoice shows 50 euros of taxable income with an AHIC of 7%. This would give us a total of 53.50 in our application. We can check the total on our invoice. When paying in cash, we will register it as charged, upon which a small green circle will appear beside it. If we register it as not charged, we edit with the mouse to the left and a small red circle will appear. We can also introduce the date that it has been charged. Purchase invoices would be an expense for us. In this case, we have an invoice from Cash Resuman. We would need to register the supplier, select plus, name Cash Resuman, and CIF of the supplier. We then go back and enter expenses. Hit plus, invoice number 1679. The date 7th of December 2019. In this case, as it includes various items, we will register it as purchase of merchandise. We then select an expense, followed by purchase. We select the supplier that we have created, Cash Resuman, and go back to the invoice with a taxable base of 162.83. As in this case, there's no AHIC, we select exempt We do not know if it has been paid or not, so we will register it as not paid, in which case a red circle will appear. In the case of invoices with two types of IHIC, we will register the supplier, in this case SyR Atenea. We include the CIF. And then select supplier. As this is an expense, we select plus and invoice number. We proceed to the invoice and copy date and concept, which in this case is energy bill. The best option is to introduce in concept the period being charged. We select the light and water account, six to 8. We proceed to selecting our supplier. And as we have two types of IHIC, we also have two taxable incomes. One is 82 with 22 with 0% IHIC, and the other is 0 with 82 at 7% IHIC. Therefore, we must introduce them separately. First, we shall type the 82 with 22, select 0% IHIC. Mark as charged and finish registration. Now we shall enter the following amount with the same invoice number, the same date, and the same concept. We select the supplier, and in this case we would put as taxable total 0 with 82, selecting 7% IHIC. Also paid for, and make sure the sum of both amounts is the total amount on the invoice. In the case of a payroll, we will do as follows. This is an example of a standard payroll document. This must be introduced as a supplier, as this is an expense for us. We fill in the company name, Juan Perez Perez. The NIF, 68 64 97 7W. The number of the payroll will be associated to the corresponding month. In this case, 10th, 31st of October, specifying the concept payroll 1 October. We select the accounting code 640 payrolls and we select Juan as supplier. The amount we include will be the total accrued. The tax withholdings being 8 with 90, the amount corresponding to the income tax. Total invoice 436 with 22. Now we shall explain how to introduce a petrol invoice. As we can see in this receipt, our company details are not included, and therefore this receipt will not be tax deductible. In this other case, company details are included, therefore can be deducted. We go ahead and create the supplier. We must not forget that petrol is only deductible for a company that requires this product for its production or is directly related to the economic activity. We introduce the number of the invoice, the date, type in the concept petrol, and select the accounting code 629 Otros Servicios. We select the supplier and introduce the amount, which in this case is 50 euros, with no IHIC. So we select exempt and paid for. We can now register. To register fixed assets, we must first create the supplier Tival Técnicos SL. With its SIF, we select supplier, register and return. These registrations are introduced into the app as an expense, even though they are not coded as such. We click plus, invoice number, in this case 41, the date, in concept, we see shelves, cupboards, and dishwasher. As these assets are different types and therefore must be registered separately. The first one, as purchase of furniture, found in the accounting code 216 Mobiliario. We search for the supplier and introduce the summed amount of both the shelves and cupboards, which in this case is 3,353 with 3, with an IHIC of 6.5% as seen on the invoice. And mark as paid for. Now we must register the dishwasher with the same invoice number, same date. We remind you that the registration of fixed assets are for the purchase of assets used for more than one productive cycle. All asset invoices must be kept and saved and sent to us to keep the fixed asset registration up to date. Select accounting code 213 machinery. The amount 605 with an EHIC of 6.5%, and it would be paid for. We register and that would be it.